Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon to our folks on the East Coast. I am Todd Obert, President and CEO of Productive Corporation, joined alongside me here in Dallas, Texas, so not physically right beside me, but virtually side by side, is Mr. Sterling G., Sales Engineer for Mimecast. And today we are going to talk about making email safer. How do we do that? Well, we do it with Mimecast, one of the leaders in mail solutions, true cloud mail solutions that we have on the market today, market leader. If you have been to our events in the past, you know how we do it. We meet productive in 1 minute. Then we talk about, the topic of the day. Today we're talking about Mimecast. Sterling G. will talk about Mimecast at a glance and how it works on inbound, outbound, and internal email, and then more importantly we'll get to the demo so we can see what the actual interface looks like, how it works in practice, and how you might experience it as an admin or a user. So without further ado, let's get rolling. So who is Productive Corporation? Well, I'm so glad you took the time to ask, because Productive is a company that provides security solutions for mid-sized companies. We have tons of expertise, whether it be products or technical config services to help with your licensing questions or helping you to better understand how we can improve your security posture. We also implement, test, and optimize all the products that we sell. We do security assessments. We do penetration tests. We can do configuration assistance and UTM configuration on all the products that we sell. We also offer a lot of third-party content like the thing we're putting on today. You can find that at productivecorp.com/content. You can check out our blogs as well as our YouTube channel. The bottom line is we have the resources to help you, whether it's implementation, assessment, licensing, or optimization services. Help at productivecorp.com, 800-726-4099. We really want to try to help you out. And one of the ways we do that is by putting on educational webinars for relevant products for the mid-market. Today we're talking about Mimecast, and if you tuned in at the top, we're talking with Sterling G. of Mimecast, who is going to tell us about their email solution, why it helps you secure yourself better, and how it can really provide even an extra layer of security over traditional mail solutions. So without further ado, I'll turn the microphone over to Mr. Sterling G. Sterling?
Hello, Todd. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, So I want to thank you for the introduction and just kind of cover Mimecast at a real high level. We help companies reduce their costs, specifically by consolidating multiple solutions. We allow them to reduce their infrastructure, reduce their admin costs, and we do also have pricing, that is company friendly based on the actual employee count. So that's a big thing. We also reduce risk. We have industry-leading SLAs. We have a 100% SLA on viruses as far as blocking viruses, and a 99.5% SLA on spam. So those are two key things to remember. We also do provide compliance and e-discovery features, and we offer immediate end-user access. The e-discovery is much easier than a lot of the products that are out there, legacy products. And we also have some improved performance. We have a 7-second search SLA on archive and inbox, so that's a highly desired feature. And we also seamlessly integrate with Outlook, mobile devices, web portal. So we provide multiple ways for users to actually access their email. So just again, want to highlight a little bit on the continuity in the archive. We are going to be focusing on security today. As I mentioned, we do have also a 100% SLA on email availability should customers choose to use our continuity feature set. Again, that's accessible via web, Outlook, and or mobile devices. As far as the archiving goes, one thing that sets us apart from the rest of the industry is it is a bottomless archive. We do not charge based on messaging and the amount of message or the size of the mailbox. We have the federated e-discovery. We do folder-based replication and retention. Again, there's the 7-second search SLA. And we also, with our technology and the archiving feature, that allows a lot of companies to basically eliminate their PST storage and still give them all of the information for the end users that they need to keep. So today, with the security aspect of it, we are going to be talking about what we call TTP, or Targeted Threat Protection, and we also provide some user awareness. But today, the three main features that we're going to be talking about is the URL Protect, the Attachment Protect, and the Impersonation Protect. Those are the key features that we see a lot of customers looking for. And again, highlighting the SLAs there. So what we're going to be talking about is a little bit of the architecture. Mimecast is 100% cloud-based. It was designed specifically for the cloud. Some of the companies that are in the email security space started out as on-prem devices, morphed those into VMs, or finally morphed those into a cloud offering, which is quite a bit different from our solution. We started in the cloud. It started day one. It was designed for the cloud, and it's just a more seamless solution. So all of the inbound mail comes in through MX records, and all of the outbound mail goes through the Mimecast cloud on the outbound. So we are basically the ingress and egress point for all corporate email for any company that wants to use our service. It's pretty straightforward. We pass all of the mail to the on-premise servers, or if they're using O365 or another cloud provider for email, we can actually sit in front of that as well. We do hook into Active Directory. We can use LDAP, LDAP-S. We can also do an SSL push depending on the security requirements of the particular customer's security environment.
So Sterling, are most people using Active Directory, kind of the bulk? I mean, I'm guessing mid-market, that's going to be the most common setup?
Yes, most are, and the main reason being is that so that we actually can populate the Mimecast environment with the users and the groups and all of that, so that we can actually do like the Spearfishing Protect and some of the other features that we use to actually protect the end users. So it allows us to apply policies at a more granular level as well. So instead of having an all or none, you can actually customize your policies for individual users and or groups.
Okay, nice.
So that gives us that information, and again, all the communication between Mimecast and your corporate environment are secure. So we use TLS on port 25 for all mail flow, and then we use, we prefer using LDAP-S or SSL for the Active Directory aspect of it. Outlook clients obviously are going to use SSL port 443. They can connect to the on-prem. They can also connect to the cloud through the Mimecast plugin, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's more for the continuity feature set. So if you look to the lower right-hand corner, we do support the popular mobile devices, the iPhone, Windows Phone, BlackBerry, Android. We also do support iPad. So we support all of those mobile devices, and we have an application that is available for those as well. So we can actually connect the client to the cloud in the case of an outage, which is the continuity functionality. So in addition to this blue arrow in the center that has the actual mail flow, we also use a journal feed from the mail system, whether it's Exchange on-prem, whether it's O365, pretty much any mail system that can provide a journal feed, we can actually use that for the archive and continuity functionalities. So we've talked a little bit about the overall architecture, and now we want to go ahead and kind of touch on the inbound email. And so we do a variety of different checks. We go through 7 different scanning engines, and most of the email security appliances or devices on the market, they only have one scanning engine. So we have 4 scanning engines that we write internally and that we update daily, sometimes multiple times a day. And we also have 3 commercially available scanning engines that we rotate in and out. So we basically take 7 passes at every single message that comes in, and that does give us a huge advantage, and that's one of the reasons why we're able to provide that 100% SLA. So we go through those detections and checks and things like that for malware, viruses, spam, things like that. We go through recipient checks to make sure that those messages are either whitelisted, or if they're blacklisted, we block them. We also go through and do a denial of service protection, which is really important to add so that companies don't get hit with massive attacks of messages that may or may not be spam, but we also can isolate them from some of the denial of service attacks that happen via email. So we do all of that, but we also do attachment content control. We do check the attachments in a much deeper level, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. We also have some spearfishing protection, but we do all of that before we deliver the message to the destination mail system. Again, it can be Exchange, O365, it can even be Google. So that's the inbound. One thing I would like to kind of highlight that sets us apart drastically from the security vendors in the marketplace is that we actually offer what we call internal email protect. So if user A is sending a message to user B in the same environment, if the user A, if their account gets compromised somehow, and you actually have an attacker that's logged in with, with those compromised accounts, and a lot of companies, are finding that some of the attacks are from within. We are able to actually remove messages, scan them with the same policies that we handle with the inbound mail, and we can actually remove those policies, remove those messages. So the question that I get a lot is, how does it do, how does Mimecast do that so fast? So in this particular diagram, you see the message is actually being fed up to the Mimecast cloud using the journal feed. We go through and do our tests. And then you see the red line where it goes back to the mail server. The way we do this is through the Exchange web APIs, basically, which was published by Microsoft to allow programming and different access into the Exchange environment. We go in and we remove those messages immediately from the user mailbox before they have a chance to click on them. A good example of how and kind of how fast this is that users typically are sitting at their desk and their phone dings to let them know that they have an inbound message. They look in Outlook, the message isn't there yet. The Exchange Web Services APIs are actually what's pushing that information out to the phone. So that's how quick it is. So it works similar to that in the background. But it allows the company to be protected from malicious insiders, careless insiders, people that have had compromised accounts. There's a whole host of why you would want to be able to protect messages being sent internally. So we've talked about the internal email protect, and now I want to touch on the outbound. So when it comes to outbound mail, there's a big question of, why do we want to send outbound mail through Mimecast? So we offer a host of features for outbound mail. I guess one of the biggest ones is the DLP, which is data leak protection, where we can actually prevent confidential information, social security numbers, credit card information, things like that from being sent outside your organization. In addition to applying DLP policies to outbound mail, we actually can apply the DLP policies inbound and internally as well, which does set us apart from most of the competition out there. We also do outbound encryption. We can manage the disclaimers, and then we also have the ability to send large files up to 2 gigs, and we can also send secure messages and control what happens to those messages once they leave the Mimecast or the customer environment. So that's a quick overview of the feature set that we offer for security. And now what I'd like to do is go ahead and share my desktop and take a look at the actual administration console, and I'll take you through some of the different feature sets.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. I got a great look of your desktop, Sterling, so we're rolling.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so this is the Mimecast dashboard. This is actually the Mimecast production environment that I'm logged into now. So if you notice in the upper left-hand corner, there's a notification feed, and I'm sure everybody's aware of the Fiesta attack that is going on currently that started yesterday, and that is a big threat worldwide. And so we do throw service announcements up there to let our clients know that there are some things going on in the industry that they need to be aware of. We also have product updates and things like that. This, again, being the main dashboard, we do cover quite a bit. We have the email queues, so that is live. We also show different functionality. In this particular situation, we've got a a journal connector flag up. We've got Exchange service. It's telling us about the internal Exchange environment. We have some of the activity over the last 24 hours and some of the total email traffic. In the right-hand side, we have types of messages that are rejected, envelope rejection, and then we've also got an email 7-day running tab that'll show you inbound, outbound, and internal mail. So this is just a really, really good landing page for people to see. And right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go take a look at Impersonation Protect. And that's one of the features that has really been a big driver for us. Impersonation Protect is where someone tries to impersonate a CEO or a CFO, and they're trying to either get finance information to have wire transfers done, or try and get confidential information. There's been some breaches where companies have actually sent out confidential information, lists of Social Security numbers, W-2s, things like that. And so again, this is a huge feature set that a lot of companies are looking for. So I'm actually going to bring up on a screen an example of what we call an impersonation attempt. So in this particular instance, a message was sent to Peter and inside Mimecast. And one of the things that we noticed was that if you look at this right here, this is actually Mimecast. They replaced the M with an RN. Now these particular people did actually go out and register the domain. They set up all of the records that they needed to have to be a legitimate domain, and they also knew the names of some of our executive officers and people that would be in the finance loop. So they sent messages in and made it look like it was an internal message. Started out really, really innocuous. Hey, can we send a wire transfer today? And I'll forward that information to you. So your typical phishing attack, the ones that we saw for years, were someone from a South African country trying to get money out. They need your help. They need you to give them your bank account information so they can deposit money and you get a portion of it. Those were very, very high effort and really low result type phishing attempts. The newer ones are much more sophisticated.
And we've seen instead of just the R and M, we've seen an RN replace the M. Yep. In some of those URLs, because that's even tighter. And if you're not looking at it, your eye will connect that. Especially if you're thinking it's from Mimecast, right? If you're thinking it's from a legit user.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's specifically what this is to combat. So in this particular instance, Peter responded back because he thought, well, it looks like a corporate email, and the conversation went on. And this is very typical of the attackers today. They're very bold. And in this particular instance, they said, no, here's the amount. And they didn't pick an even amount. They picked a specific amount. And they actually said, hey, code this for professional services. And then they attached a document with some wiring transfers. And as a result, Peter actually got this. Peter Fondini, he actually was like, hey, wait a second. This just smells a little fishy. He didn't catch the Mimecast. So he actually sent and forwarded this to the actual person that it was supposedly coming from and said, hey, is this the real deal? And as it turns out, no, it wasn't. So this was a perfect example. This actually came to Mimecast while we were developing the Impersonation Protect. So I'm going to go back into the administration console and show you the configuration settings for this to show you how we actually prevent these types of messages. So these are the identifier settings that we have. And I'm going to rattle through these fairly quick because we do have a tight schedule today. So we actually check the internal domain. And it'll actually give us a similarity distance, how many character changes would it take to be off. We also check if it's a newly observed domain. We also check to see if the name in the from field of the message matches an internal username, and we call that meshing. Some of these messages that come in, there are some irregularities in the header of the message, and one of them is in a reply to address mismatch. So we check for that. And then we also use a targeted threat dictionary that would cover words like wire transfer, finance, W-2s, urgent, things that would come up in these types of attack. So we give 5 different choices and features that they can use, and this is basically an AND scenario. And you go in and you choose the number of hits. Now,
so we're just seeing, Sterling, we're still just seeing that payment request email. Are you still on that screen, or have you moved to a different?
I'm actually on the I'm actually in the administration console.
All right, I see. Right now, if you move your mouse, I'm just seeing you on the, where your pointer was, is just on that. Yep, and the Michael Fondini just came in.
Interesting. Okay, because I minimized that. Let me do this. So I've got it back up on the screen. Let me see if I can close it, see what it does. And I will see if I can move up the administration console again. So are you seeing my desktop currently, just the wallpaper?
No, I just see the, basically your Outlook, the Mimecast Outlook.
Okay, let me stop sharing and then reshare and see if we can catch that.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to share the desktop again.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing your cursor move like you're on the, basically the Impersonation Protect would be your view.
Oh, okay, so you're actually on the definition, so I'm going around the description right now, and you're seeing that?
Yeah, I just see the email. Basically, it looks like the Outlook client is what it looks like.
Interesting. I've actually closed that window, so that is very interesting. So you're seeing the desktop.
Yeah. Do you have two screens? Could it potentially be on the other screen?
I do. So I just moved this from the other screen. Are you seeing the?
Well, so now you're not sharing right now. So
okay. Let me do that.
There
again.
you go. There we go.
Okay,
now you're on the right.
Okay.
This is right.
Okay.
This is the.
Awesome. Okay.
This has the tabs: dashboard, policies, attachment, protect, URL protection as the tabs.
Okay. Perfect. My apologies. It looks like we were having some technical difficulties, so I'll run through this again. So we got the identifier settings for the internal domain and the similarity distance. Again, how many characters can it be different? Newly observed domain, the internal username, so that the inbound message, if it matches the display name or how it's actually shown in the Active Directory for an internal user, that will actually throw a flag as well. We've got the reply to address mismatch and some other anomalies that happen inside the message header. And then we can choose the number of hits. So how tight do you want this criteria to be? So this is a beautiful feature that allows you to really dial in and make your environment safe. Now, there's also some different identifier actions and some general actions. So in this particular instance, you can actually tag the message body. You can tag the subject, and you can actually tag the header as well. So if you take a look at this, you can actually see how we can actually go in and put things in the subject, and this is customizable. In the message body, you can put full HTML with little blinky lights or however you want to handle it to make it catch somebody's attention. And then you obviously have several different options for the messages. You can hold them, you can bounce them, or you can actually take no action. In that particular instance, we don't recommend the no action because it's just it's basically deleting the feature. So in this particular instance, we also have some general actions as far as marking all the inbound mail as external, and we can notify different groups. So as far as the Impersonation Protect, that's a very, very comprehensive selection, and this can be applied to individual users, groups, or the whole company. And you can actually create multiple policies and definitions to give you that kind of in-depth look. So I'm going to go ahead and rattle through the attachment protect and the URL protect pretty quickly. So we do a sandbox, a preemptive sandboxing of the attachments coming in. Our sandbox does differ from a lot of the security email providers out there in that we're not using a virtual machine from VMware or a hypervisor from Microsoft. And the challenge that a lot of security sandbox run into is that there is code out there, macros and all kinds of really nasty stuff out there where they can actually do what we call evasion techniques, and they can actually evade and not fire if they're in a virtualized environment. And that will allow them to get through. So we actually do a bare metal emulation for our particular type of sandboxing. So we offer the preemptive sandboxing, and this is the dashboard that you see on the attachments. You get some nice old dashboards and some numbers, and you also get some information on the top senders, top recipients, and the top unsafe file names. This is where I want to go ahead and go into the client and give you a really quick showing of what actually happens when an attachment comes in. So in this particular scenario, I've got a file that I sent myself this morning, and this is what a user would treat. So we also offer something in addition to the traditional sandboxing. We also, what we call it, we also provide a safe file transcription. And that's where we take a file that comes in like a Word document or a PowerPoint presentation, and we actually convert that to a read-only PDF. We strip out any macros or code, and it's purely just content. And so the user would receive this message. This was a Word doc that I sent through. And here is, I'm not sure what that is. And here is basically a PDF that actually came through that was a Word document that I sent myself. So I have the attached file, but I also have the instructions where I can actually go in and I can request that file. Now in this particular instance, because I'm using the transcription, I receive a pop-up that it's going to do a security analysis, and the files will be sent to me if they're considered safe. So that's for the users that need to have that real data. What we found is most users are just consuming the data. They're looking at it in the case of resumes or things like that, but if they need to redline documents like a legal department, then they're able to do that as well. So here's an example. I received that attachment in, and here is the actual Word document that I received. And the message actually shows that it's been security checked and cleared. So again, this is a protected view document. And so if we go back, here's the message that shows that it's been security checked. So that's on the attachment side. Now, we've talked about Attachment Protect. We've also talked about the Impersonation Protect. And now I'd like to go into the URL protection. The Mimecast URL protection is handled quite a bit differently. We rewrite the URLs to point to our cloud. And every time an end user clicks on that URL, we actually check the destination before allowing them to go there. Now, with the URL protection, we also provide a really nice dashboard that shows, the different types of information, top users, and basically information that you can find at a click. And I want to highlight right here, we actually provide user awareness. So when a user receives a message with an URL in it, and they click on it, Mimecast will check the destination. If the destination appears to be a probable problem, like it's not blatant, like executable download or something like that, it'll give a user the option to actually accept the risk and continue. Now, the reason why this is really important is that end users always say, I didn't click on that. In this particular instance, if they're trying to go to a malicious site, they actually have to click on it twice. And so I'm going to bring the log up really quick. And Todd, how are we running on time?
We are getting towards the bottom half of the hour, but let's take a couple more minutes and get through this thing.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to set a date, and I'm going to go through and check specifically for like some blocks. So in this particular instance, this domain, and let's see if I can get that minimized. There we go. So in this particular instance, the scan result was that it was malicious. The action was basically blocking it, and in this case, there was no ability for the user to override it and nothing for the user awareness because this is an administrative block. So let's take a look at the inbound, and let's take a look at warn. Okay, so in this particular instance, the actual warning was there, and in this particular instance, where the user override, they actually accepted the risk to go to this website. Now, if there had been truly malicious content, if they had clicked continue or accept risk, they would have seen a message at that point that it was being blocked. So we don't really let the users ever get to malicious content, but we use that user awareness to actually raise their awareness and kind of teach them what they're looking at and how to actually determine whether or not it is actually malicious content. So this is what kind of is included in this log at the very bottom as far as the user awareness. It shows the number of attempts, and most of these guys here are actually sales engineers because we do this test every day, and we're actually running through and clicking this. So TJ just sits about 15 feet away from me. He is the top offender here when it comes to clicking on malicious content.
Maybe so that's just because you're IT guys. I think that's what I've heard, that the IT guys are the ones that get into the most problematic areas.
We come up on this report just because we're testing it and things like that. People want to see how it works.
I'm just kidding.
But, hey, listen, you know, it's all in fun, right? So,
Yeah.
but anyway, you know, just this is a really quick, you know, kind of like overview on Mimecast. You know, talked about the features. We talked about some of the functionality. I showed you some of the dashboards and some of the configuration settings. And then also, just a quick moment, I want to bring up the Outlook client. So in the Outlook client, we actually have a plugin, and this is the Mimecast plugin, and we have a search. So the 7-second search, I'm just going to do a search in here for pizza. And this is going to pull up the plugin, and it's asking me if I'm going to show my screen again.
Yeah, I pulled it off here for a second. There we go.
Oh, okay. So here's the search of my archive, and it goes back to last year when I received a message, and it pulled all that up in under 7 seconds. So it's very quick. Again, this is the example of the Outlook plugin. We provide you know, all the features here where you can go in and look at your queues. You can look at hold messages. You can block things. You can manage senders, and you know, you can also do the large file send and secure message from here. But the beautiful thing about this is that you have the same interface application for the mobile devices. So everything that you normally tied to your desktop or Outlook for on most email security gateway products, you can actually go from your phone. So you can look at your phone. You can be in, you know, on the train. You can be, you know, riding in a car somewhere, not driving, and you can actually go in and release messages and, you know, block senders and all the things that you would normally only be able to do from a computer or web portal. You got the convenience of the phone.
That is super cool. I think that is a great feature. So we could be talking about this all day long, but out of respect for time for the folks here who've come in, I'm going to take back control and say thank you to everybody who took the time to attend today. You have a lot of stuff on your plate, so spending a half an hour with us is very much appreciated. Sterling, thank you so much for a fantastic presentation. If you'd like to learn more about Mimecast or other ways to improve your security posture, let us know. Account execs will be reaching out, and we will be posting this recording on our website as well. In the meantime, I am Todd Obert from Productive, along with Sterling G. from Mimecast, wishing you a fantastic balance of your day and week, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody.